And then one thing that I wanted to talk about, I'm gonna pause music. Of course, there has been a lot of Epstein talk, right? Because the Epstein files that were released by the DOJ on Friday were heavily redacted, but then also today there were more than a dozen files that are no longer available, including one that is Trump's photo that was on a desk among other photographs. And the question yet again is, could you all be any more obvious that you are continuing to protect people like Donald Trump? You know, the other thing I've been thinking about, not only were Donald Trump and Epstein obviously friends, Epstein kind of seems to be one of Trump's, had kind of seemed to be one of his only friends. With how much evidence of their friendship there is, I'm like, did this man even have any other friends, or was Epstein his one and only bestie? Which is pathetic, and also, yet again, just indicative of the fact that Donald Trump is inseparable from Jeffrey Epstein. They had almost a year to completely censor him out of the files, and they were still too incompetent. It would be laughable if these were not such serious matters, if this were not like the biggest state-sanctioned, covered up sex trafficking ring that involved powerful figures in politics and finance and Hollywood, and most of whom are still running around consequence-free. Very few people have been brought to justice regarding this massive, decades-long pedophile sex trafficking ring. It's just absurd. But anyway, another thing I wanted to talk about with this, which I took to Twitter. I took to the Twitter today because one thing that I've seen that's just making me go nuts is the way that, and this has been ongoing, but especially like right now in this moment, the memification, the like silly kind of cultural memes and jokes using Epstein. This is a photo of him on the ground with his dog, and the caption is 3 a.m. vibe. And this has 25,000 likes. And let me explain to you why this is bad, if it's not obvious. So this is bad because Jeffrey Epstein was he was responsible for one of the largest, if not the largest, sex trafficking operations that went on for decades because of his very powerful network and him being able to escape accountability for that. He raped and trafficked children. May I just remind people what this man did and what his associates and co-conspirators participated in? The rape and trafficking of children, and many of them. And so when you memify him this way in a very like, in a very kind of relatable sense, you know, oh, we've all been there at 3 a.m. on the ground with a dog. Hey, guess what? That's Epstein though. And I think it numbs people. I think the constant memifying of monstrous figures like this will have the, whether it's unintended or not, effect of obscuring what it is that they did. You know, it's like, oh, people maybe aren't understanding fully. They're not disgusted and outraged and calling for justice in the way they should, because it's all just a silly joke. Yeah. God, I saw, oh my God. I mean, hate to put this guy on the timeline. But it seems as if the move here by conservatives is to now humanize Epstein as well, which again, memes can do that. Memes can humanize, make something or somebody relatable, form connection, because it's like, oh, this is a feeling and experience we've all had. I mean, this is maybe one of the worst tweets that I've seen on Epstein. Drew Pavlo, this fucking freak. We've all been there. Who's we? Are you just making it clear to us that you are also a pedophile? Are you literal in this, that you were on Epstein Island? You took a plane from Australia or wherever the fuck you live over to Epstein Island? Like what? But this too falls into the category of like, haha, silly meme. Here's Epstein taking a nap on this chair thing, and Drew going, we've all been there, being like, okay, so what? We've all been eepy. Oh, we've all been so eepy and just taking a nap in the sunshine. This is motherfucking Jeffrey Epstein, you freak. That's what you have to say. This is your This is your comment. This is the decision that you've made. Oh my God. Yeah, and then the other one, and I'm sorry to pull up this account too, because I think this is truly one of the worst. Truly, truly one of the worst accounts. But they had some tweets that were putting them in the running for worst response to the Epstein files. A picture of one of Epstein's victims with their face redacted, saying, this is getting too dark. This is not fun. What the fuck did you ever think would be fun about the extensive criminal network where children, where minors were being sex trafficked? What about that is fun? Do you think this is a Liam Neeson film that you're going to the theaters and getting your popcorn and watching Liam Neeson kick ass for 2 hours? That's fiction. Okay, that's entertainment, because that's a movie that's not real. God, the memification of one of the worst cases of sexual abuse of children. Like what is wrong? What is wrong with people? I just don't understand. What is supposed to be fun about this, you fucking troglodyte? I think this is also, yes, too terminally online, but also, as I've been trying to explain, a result of not treating Epstein, his associates, and their extensive criminal activities as anything serious. And instead, how it's been so, as I keep saying, memeified. It's been treated as like just true crime slop, as if it's just an unserious, entertaining television show. My God. Pavlok, thank you for the 6 months. I've felt this really strongly, but I haven't known how to talk about it. I mean, I think Epstein is representative. The way that we have, the way that we have turned Epstein's crimes into something that's just entertaining fodder for the online. I think it's not the only instance of this, but I think we can put this up there as among the worst because of how horrific Epstein's crimes were. But this is also something that's been done to Palestinians. All of the gross memes. And people will be like, it's dark humor. It's a way to cope. I'm like, this is not dark humor. This is not dark humor. This is people taking something incredibly serious that involved the destruction of many lives, including that of children who we should be protecting. It's taking that and treating it like it's a joke, treating it with like this as a spectacle, as a form of entertainment, with just total apathy. There's no separation these days from dark humor and shit like this. Yeah, I think a lot of people are just so brain dead, and they call everything satire. They call everything dark humor. They use these words that they don't actually understand the meaning of, and they apply it to just the worst impulses now, the worst behaviors that we exhibit. And here's another one. Actually, I think this person tweeted a response to it. Yeah. Here's another tweet from Autism Capital. Oh, Bill, you dog. Lamau. Oh, you dirty dog. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that dirty dog, Bill Gates. I Up Lovely tweeted, I absolutely fucking loathe these soy groiper accounts, turning the revelation of the most mass-scale, state-sanctioned international child sex trafficking blackmail ring into Bill Gates was a playa. What the fuck do you think happened to these kids? Why do you think there are so few living victims? They killed every last one without any shred of damning evidence against the current brokers of power. You people should be fed to dogs. Yeah, damn, you the man, Bill. Look at you with all these girls. Yeah, might be the biggest after the church. I mean, I would certainly say, as far as this was international, but specific to the United States and involving powerful figures in the U.S. government, Wall Street, Hollywood, in these industries where wealth and power really accumulate. It's not just Twitter. It's everywhere online. Epstein Files jokes, Diddy party jokes, kids on the playground making Diddy jokes because of online. It's not that deep, just jokes culture. It's so gross to see. Yeah, this is why I talk about it, because these behaviors, these attitudes online are not separate from what is happening in the real world. So this isn't just oh yeah, well, that's how people act on the internet. No. No. Do I think that the internet can be a place where it's at its most extreme, where there is no, as we often say, there is no nuance. Everything exists in a binary. There's no normalcy, people giving in to just the worst impulses. Absolutely. But are these cultural attitudes separate from what exists outside of the internet? No. And this is all part of how our culture and our society makes light of powerful abusers, and why these abusers continue to cause so much harm, because it's not treated with the seriousness that it deserves, and because we continuously fail our children over and over again. We are failing our children. We are allowing adults in society to abuse children and then are enabled and protected from any consequences. Memes should have never spread to normies. They should have been reversed for those who managed to get into online communities with memes. The normies don't know when to stop. Yeah, and it's also there's no line. There's no line on when to employ memes and when to not. No understanding of how memes as a cultural tool can take something that is really bad and deserves to be treated with the utmost seriousness and turn it into a joke. Posts like this one alone also try to make the files look like there's nothing serious in them. And you know who this serves? This serves these people in power who for decades were involved in Epstein's crimes and are walking around freely. That's who that serves. It serves power. It serves the interests of abusers who they rely upon people just giving this horrific behavior a pass. It's just fucking awful. Oh my God. And then this was the cherry on top that now you just bet on tweets. You bet when a tweet is whatever you predict the tweet is going to hit. Somebody who bet on this tweet, I was like, oh, we're in hell. We absolutely live there. I went, how could this get worse? How could this get worse? Oh, people betting on the tweet, guessing how many likes it's going to get so they can get money. Oh my God. Somehow it's like in a movie when they go, it can't get any worse than this, and then it starts pouring rain. I guess I spoke too soon. The classic, it certainly couldn't get worse than this. Thunder cracks. Oh God, the gambleification of everything, the memeification, the enshittification. Y'all, we have got to get our shovels and get this shit out of the stables because we are drowning in it. We are fucking drowning. The 2020 is so far. And then somehow it got worse. You thought it was bad. It truly is just like hold my beer over and over again. Also, it tells you that pedophilia is funny because they don't fully understand the gravity of the situation. All they see and hear is adults laughing at this demon. They'll make their own conclusions. And like I said, there is a difference between employing dark humor where you are not actually making light of pedophilia. You are drawing attention to the fact that it's so fucking rampant and that so many rich and powerful people, oh, surprise, surprise, are pedophiles. Making a point, like if you're employing dark humor, making a point about how insane it is that we just seem to have pedophiles all over the place running the show. The same people who are like, protect the kids, except when it comes to their fave politician, their fave billionaire, who is a pedophile. And oh God. It is a result too, I think, of people getting stupider, of getting lazier, of just our brains turning to mush. The only good thing about being in late stage capitalism is that it can only end in two ways. There's one of two ways that this can go here.
Licensed psychologist. Also joining us is Lauren Hirsch, the National Director for World Without Exploitation. Annie, it's a heavy day, a momentous day, but a heavy day, a heavy week. How are you feeling?
There was a lot of anxiety coming into today for many of us survivors and that have been involved in this process. But I have to say, it has been an emotional day in a way that I was not expecting. My sister, Maria Farmer, reported Epstein and his crimes in 1996. We've been saying that.
My younger Italian cousin was making racist and sexist jokes, and I was like, bro, no. And he was like, it's dark humor. He has a bust of Mussolini in his room. See, something is not just what you say it is because you just say it is. When idiots are like, it's satire, you wouldn't understand. Oh, come on, it's just jokes. It's like, actually, I think you are too profoundly stupid to be capable of employing humor, employing dark humor, but making a, thoughtful, legitimate point. No, dude. You're just addicted to 4chan.
Over and over again.
You fell for my rage bait. No, I didn't fall for your rage bait. To fall for your rage bait denotes that you did anything clever at all. You are not clever. You are not clever. You are the lowest of the intellectually low. It is the sign of someone with no ability to generate any critical thought, to engage in what you call rage baiting. To be justifiably outraged by something horrible is not getting rage baited. Most of the time, too, these people are like, haha, you fell for my bait. I rage baited you. I'm like, no, I just look at you and go, man, it feels like more and more every day we are surrounded by just brain dead slugs. I look at you and I feel shame for our current culture. I go, here's yet another person who is a complete waste of space on this planet. What a shame. Yeah. Saying something abhorrent and then someone goes, that's not cool. You're a shitty person. Masterful gambit. Oh, masterful gambit, sir. You said something racist, and when it was pointed out that what you said was racist, you went, ha, got you. The only person you got is yourself. The only person you got is yourself because you are a waste of oxygen. It's like jumping on a banquet table and smashing the pie and then laughing when people get pissed. Yeah. Oh, you mean everybody else who's responding normally? Everyone else who's responding normally to something you are saying or doing that you deserve, that you deserve to be slapped in the face for?
Oh, what are you doing? You just got rage baited. You literally just stabbed me. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I stabbed you. Ha ha. You got rage baited because you're upset about being stabbed. A lot of these people got a deadly dose of the kind of adrenochrome from the haha get wrecked cancel culture. Then Elon Musk is a perfect example of this type of person being. It is so juvenile. It is so asinine. We are all the worse off for it. Yeah. Get wrecked. Ha ha. I hesitated before saying person.
And part of what was released today was an official FBI form, and I think it was an FD 71 dated September 3rd, 1996, with my sister's, some of my sister's report. It was labeled under child pornography, and it described Epstein stealing photos of myself at the age of 16, of my younger sister who was 12 at the time. And just to see it in writing and to know that they had this document this entire time, and how many people were harmed after that date. It just, you know, we've been saying it over and over, but to see it in black and white that way has been very emotional. I'm with Maria today. I know she felt a tremendous amount of relief and redemption, but also sorrow in thinking about, you know, people like Virginia Roberts Giuffre who are not here to see this and be a part of really forcing the government to be transparent finally.
Yeah, just remember always, it is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. You are the sick fuck when you react in a way that is anything but total horror at the sexual abuse of children, towards the sexual abuse of children. The only way to respond to something like that is with utter disgust, outrage, horror. What does it say about us as a society when we allow children to be abused, to be broken?
About this case.
So Annie, I mean, I'm just so people know what this is, the document that you're talking about. It is the 1996 complaint that you're.
And you know what it is too, because I think a lot of what we've seen from, you know, people like Megyn Kelly to just assholes online, there is still this cultural attitude that nothing is wrong with old men being interested in teenage girls. That's just how it goes. The fact that that is treated, that is so normalized, that is not seen as a pervasive cultural issue. That we sit there and normalize old men, adult men, going after teenage girls, preying on them. The second someone starts talking about age of consent, the different definitions of sexual attraction to, you know, insert age group. There's sexual attraction of children, and then there's sexual attraction of teenagers. You're telling on yourselves. I know. I just always think of Gianmarco's. It's true every time. It's true every time. As if somehow it makes it acceptable and it's okay when, oh, no, she was 16. That's just normal. Yeah, these 60-something-year-olds. These 60-something-year-olds preying on these 16-year-old girls. No, it's totally fine. That's just how the world works. Jane Doe Epstein survivor who reported Epstein to the FBI in 2009 sent the following letter to the Department of Justice today after it failed to redact her name in the release of the files. I've confirmed her name is currently not redacted in multiple public files. I'm a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein. I write to place the DOJ on formal notice of a grave and indefensible violation arising from the December 19th, 2025 release of records under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. In that release, my name and or identifying information was disclosed publicly without proper redaction. So, of course, in every way that they can do the worst possible job, they do. They will make sure that Epstein's powerful buddies will be redacted from these files, but then they will not redact the personal information of one of his victims. Go to fucking hell! Burn it down. At the same time, and astonishingly, the DOJ and FBI continue to withhold my own FBI file, despite the fact that I reported Jeffrey Epstein to the FBI in 2009. I have an extensive FBI file arising from that report and related cooperation. The FBI has confirmed in writing that my request remains under review for redactions with an estimated completion date of February 2026, and multiple United States senators and representatives across parties and states have formally advocated for the release of my file to me. The contradiction is extraordinary. The DOJ asserts that my own file requires prolonged review to determine whether redactions are appropriate, yet it had no difficulty publicly releasing my identity in a mass disclosure. One, the Epstein Files Transparency Act required protection of victim identities. I hope all of these victims who have been repeatedly fucked over by the FBI, by the DOJ, I hope they get everything. I hope they get everything and more. The Epstein Files Transparency Act mandates disclosure of covered records while explicitly permitting and requiring the redaction of victim identifying information, including names and personally identifiable details, where disclosure would constitute a clearly unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. Victim protection is not ancillary to the act. It is a central statutory safeguard. The unredacted disclosure of my identity violated both the letter and purpose of the law and inflicted fresh harm on the very people Congress sought to protect. These people can't do anything fucking right. Protecting abusers and not protecting the victims. Classic. DOJ's position is internally contradictory and legally untenable. According to the FBI's written communication to me in December 2025, the request is presently assigned to a disclosure analyst who is reviewing the records to determine if any redactions pursuant to subsections of Title V, U.S. Code Section 552 and 552A. Thus, DOJ's position is that my own records requested by me as the reporting victim must be withheld pending careful redaction review. And yet, my name could be disclosed publicly without protection. That position is not merely inconsistent. It is irrational, reckless, and incompatible with federal victim protection obligations. This is the type of thing that people should lose their jobs for. They should, at the very least, lose their jobs for. Pam Bondi should be fired at minimum. This position is not merely inconsistent. It is irrational, reckless, and incompatible. Exactly. Deterrence will not work, number 3, and will not excuse illegality. If the unredacted release of my name coupled with the continued withholding of my FBI file was intended explicitly or implicitly to deter, intimidate, or chill advocacy for the full release of the Epstein files, it has failed. I remain undeterred and unafraid. The American people are entitled to the full truth contained in the Epstein files, and Congress made clear that transparency must be delivered with protection for victims, not at their expense. This unlawful disclosure does not silence me. It does not frighten me. If anything, it's made me more resolved than ever to ensure the full lawful release of the Epstein files. Victims are not intimidated by this conduct. We are demanding accountability for it. Number 4, this disclosure compounds prior governmental failure. I did what victims are told to do. I reported Jeffrey Epstein to the FBI in 2009. The government failed to stop him then. It failed to protect victims for years. And now, under the banner of transparency, it has exposed a reporting victim while continuing to withhold her own records. This is not transparency. It is institutional failure layered upon historic injustice. This is straight up corruption. This is also, you can look at it as institutional failure, but you can also look at it as these institutions working as they were designed, as they are intended to protect people in power, to not protect victims. Number 5, legal exposure and oversight implications. This incident raises serious issues under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, the Crime Victims' Rights Act, the Privacy Act, DOJ's own public representations regarding victim protection in Epstein-related disclosures. I am actively evaluating Inspector General referral, congressional escalation, and civil remedies. Number 6 demands immediate corrective action required. I demand the following actions without delay. Immediate removal or correction of all publicly posted materials containing my unredacted identifying information. 2, written confirmation within 24 hours identifying affected documents, duration of exposure, and corrective steps taken. 3, preservation of all records related to this disclosure. 4, referral of this incident to the DOJ Office of the Inspector General. 5, a written explanation reconciling the withholding of my FBI file with the public disclosure of my identity. Number 7, closing. The audacity of withholding my file while exposing my name cannot be overstated. This letter constitutes formal notice. I expect immediate action, written confirmation, and accountability. I am attaching the FBI letter dated 18th December 2025, as well as multiple examples of the illegal releases of my name dated 19th December 2025. I mean, God, this Epstein survivor is exhibiting a strength that most people and most people who have just treated this as a those who have treated this as a mockery could never understand. And it should not have to be it should not have to be this way. You should not be a victim of sexual abuse in the first place. Like, hey, let's work on that not happening all the time. But then on top of that, having to, for years, be your advocate, fight for justice, come up against the incompetency or the intentional opposition of agencies that are supposed to be all about justice and protecting and serving. Yeah, either incompetency or intentional malice. Oh God, it is just
Sister made to the FBI about Epstein. She alleged that he stole nude and partially nude photographs of her underage sisters, constituting child pornography. And as we know, law enforcement failed to act on that complaint in 1996. She's followed up on this. She sued in response. You sued over what you experienced. Maria, in a statement, has said, "This is amazing. Thank you for believing me. I feel redeemed. This is one of the best days of my life." Of course, it's mixed with the fact that I'm devastated about all the other little girls like Virginia who were harmed because the FBI didn't do their job. I'm crying for 2 reasons. I want everyone to know that I'm shedding tears of joy for myself, but also tears of sorrow for all the other victims that the FBI, looking at this document, I can feel, I'm sure, just a fraction of the emotion you feel, because you think of, like, if only they took this seriously.
I feel like every time I watch a CNN news segment, the audio is always just
How
cracking.
many innocent girls would not have been harmed if only they took this seriously? But it is vindication. It is something, right, Annie?
Oh, it's huge. Yeah. I mean, and I still have big questions about whether it was, did they not take it seriously, or were they protecting Epstein because of
See?
whatever relationship he had with the government?
Right. And it doesn't change the outcome. The outcome is still the same, that these victims, these child victims of Jeffrey Epstein and his many associates and co-conspirators were abused, some of them for years, and that Jeffrey Epstein did not face accountability when caught the first time, that he was able to maintain his network for decades. And so the outcome is the same, but I do think talking about the fact that Acosta and the FBI and the governmental forces that gave Epstein that sweetheart plea deal did so because of who he was and who was connected to him. And that is the corruption. That is the power being wielded to protect disgusting abusers that we need to root out, that the public needs to be aware of and needs to be calling for justice and for accountability and for an end to this institutional power and protections for criminals.
Right. Like, there's just so many questions, and why we hope for, again, more transparency. But yes, this is really, really significant to many of us.
It reminds me also of the young woman who went to the FBI and complained about Dr. Larry Nassar at Michigan State, who was molesting all those gymnasts and was also not taken seriously.
Yeah, you mean that this happens all the time? You mean that this is a reflection on our society? That this is a cultural problem?
All the pain that could have been avoided. Annie, some of your fellow survivors have not been happy with the way that the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee have been releasing information and photographs, not necessarily with enough of a heads up for the survivors, sometimes with context, important context missing, et cetera. I imagine it's kind of triggering to not be given proper warning. What have you been hearing from other survivors about the way that these documents have been released by Democrats on House Oversight?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, actually, I'd like to speak more broadly, because I think that similar to how things are released today. Just the government, I'd say, has not done a good job.
Also, the other point I haven't made yet is people who are wielding this as a way to score political points is so fucking vile. Whether they are, whether they are on the Democrat side, on the Republican side, it doesn't matter. It's so funny when the response to someone on the left who's talking about how all Trump and everyone else needs to be held accountable, and they'll post a photo of Clinton and Epstein as if those of us on the left are like, oh, but it's okay that Clinton was involved. Oh, but I need to protect. No, fuck Bill Clinton. Fuck all of them. Fuck Noam Chomsky. Do you think that a normal, morally consistent person thinks that it's okay that someone was associated with Epstein, potentially participating in his in his sex trafficking ring just because they have politics that we align with more? Huh? Fuck anybody who is an abuser, who is a pedophile. That should not be hard to say. There's no separation here. It's not, well, one of these pedophiles is bad, but the other one is okay because they're on my team. No. They expect us all to fall into the same level of cultist tribalism that they do. Right? That's a self-report. That's a reflection on you that you are not consistent in going, yeah, no, it's fuck pedophiles. Yeah, no, it's fuck creeps and abusers. I'm consistent in that. Yeah, lock Clinton up. I don't give a fuck. Same with Trump. Yeah, you will not catch me out here defending any of these people.
Of communicating with victims throughout this process. We did not know what to expect from today. I don't think it would have been difficult from someone from the DOJ to reach out to prepare us a little bit more about how this was planned to be rolled out, but we had no information and we are literally just learning of things like everyone else. And that also is true for some of the things that have come
and
from
Empress
the House
Grinch, thank
Oversight
you.
Committee. And there has been communication, and I think they have made some efforts to try and rectify those processes because, yeah, it is triggering. And there's just a way in which it's hard to focus on anything right now with all of this going on. I think many of us are feeling really on edge and worn out. It's we have regular lives. People are trying to go to doctor's appointments, take care of children, do regular life holiday things. And it's just a serious weight to always, not know what's coming next. So I think, there are things like victims advocates for a reason. I know the government employs them. I don't understand why no one is using them right now.
I hope you feel the support of the American people behind. Lauren, how do officials in Congress and are just behind you all the way?
Oops.
Lauren, how do officials in Congress and the Justice Department?
I don't mean to intrude, just saying hello to chat. New to your channel, but huge fan of your collab with Extra M and T10 17 Dormez. Oh, thanks for saying hi. Welcome in.
Strike the right balance when it comes to protecting the survivors and their identities, while also releasing as much information about this case as possible to the public, because some of the documents we're seeing released are just 100 pages of redaction. And obviously,
Such a
I don't
joke.
want the names of survivors released, but like 100 pages of redaction, that's a lot.
It sure is, Jake. I think the survivors have been really clear about what they want to see. I think they have said that they want all of the files released and they want redactions for victim identifying information. That's very different than document after document after document of full redactions. And they also want to see the names of people who have caused harm on both sides. They don't care if they're names of people who represent the left, the right, the center. They don't care. For them, this is not about politics. This is about pain, and this is about people. And so it's really time to expose those who've caused tremendous harm and begin holding them accountable.
Lauren Hirsch, thank you for your presence and your advocacy. Annie Farmer, to you and your sisters, I mean, sending you all the love and support.
Imagine, okay, you know what I just had a thought of too? How absurd it is to be like, oh, well, I'm going to protect this person who's associated with a sex trafficker who may themselves be a pedophile, be a child sex abuser, because we have the same politics. So what does that say about my politics? I don't think people think that is the argument they think it is, that is anything other than just exposing how vile and inhumane your politics are. If you're like, yeah, but that guy's on my team. It's like, yeah, your team's fucked.
from me and my staff here at CNN, as we have. Thank you, and I hope you're able to have a Merry Christmas. The co-author of legislation requiring the Epstein files release, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna of California, says he's, quote, disappointed with what the Justice Department has made public today, which is not all of the files. His Republican counterpart, Congressman Thomas Massie, agrees, posting on X just moments ago that the release, quote, grossly fails to comply with both the spirit and the letter of the law, unquote. Joining us now, Democrat from California and the ranking Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Robert Garcia. So, Congressman, you posted on X saying that you and your team are doing a major review of the documents, adding, quote, it's clear that this is not a full release. What stands out to you of what's been released or what has not?
Well, first, I think we should be very clear. This is absolutely breaking the law. I mean, they have not produced actually what they were required to do, which was all the files by today in a way that was searchable for the public, and that is not what's the case. What we have essentially is, one, we have a group of documents that have already been released to the public, and so there's could be even more than half of the documents we're reviewing right now have already been released. This includes court documents. It includes public video that's already been released to the public. It includes other civil case documents that are in there, the prison footage from Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony. And all of that information, including about 33,000 pages that were initially released to the Oversight Committee, are all in the public record. That already does not count for new information. Then we have, of what appears to be new, including some photos and other documents, those are highly redacted. And we don't really have any explanation as to why they've been redacted or what is actually there in those documents. And so
CNN,
we
fix
have
your
right now,
shit.
what we're seeing is not transparency. This is not what the law passed. This does not meet the subpoena that the Oversight Committee has in place. What it is defying the Congress and, quite frankly, defying what the president signed into law in releasing all of these files. And so the review will continue. They're now saying they're going to try to get these documents over the next few weeks. In our initial estimation, and again, this is our estimation right now, it could be that we're only getting about 10% of what the DOJ likely has. And of that 10%, 5% of that has already been released, and the other 5% is highly redacted. So we're getting very little so far. We hope to get more in the days ahead. But this is Pam Bondi. Donald Trump should release all the files today and immediately.
There's a lot that's been redacted. The White House seems to be arguing that what's been redacted is just to protect the names of the survivors.
Look, I think we have to obviously see what the redactions actually are. At the end of the day, redacting names of survivors and victims, absolutely.
Yeah, except that is completely thrown out in the trash because we just read that letter that the Jane Doe, the Epstein survivor, has sent to the DOJ because they included her personal information. So you're telling me that we're to believe everything that's redacted here, which is a hell of a lot of it, is all to protect potential victim identification and information. And yet we already know of one survivor who has not been able to, the FBI has refused to hand over her own file. And on top of that, made her name known to the public.
Should be the case, and I'm hopeful that they've done that in a way that's responsible.
Dropping a pic of Bill with MJ and redacting his own children is nasty work. It is so fucking nasty.
At the same time, we don't know what else is being redacted there. And so we've got to also talk to folks that we know have worked to put these documents together. We have to ensure they're not just redacting the names of those that could have been either co-conspirators or names of men who have abused women and girls. So that information is going to be critical in the days and the weeks ahead. But we also need to be clear at this moment. I've been on the phone with Jamie Raskin and the Judiciary team most of the day. And we agree. We're going to likely have to take legal action if the Trump administration continues to stonewall, continues to not provide us full transcripts, and clearly they don't have a real interest in transparency. The searchable bar that they've included that's supposed to be searchable for the public is not even functioning correctly. And so this is not a real release. This is continuing a cover-up that's been going on now for months.
Yeah, this should be a no-brainer for Democrats to be relentless on this. And it's, I wish the motivation being that this is the right thing to do, that enough of the cover-ups and the corruption. However, this is politics we're talking about. So from a political standpoint, a strategic standpoint, the Democrats should be going ham on this constantly, because Trump talked over and over again about how when he gets back to office, when he's president again, that he's going to release the Epstein files. I mean, they made a whole show of it. They made a whole fucking show and ran on Donald Trump being the hero to bring down the sex trafficking pedophile cabal within the political state. Oh, you mean he lied? I can't believe he lied. Shocking.
Conversation will.
All right. Me when I delete a chunk of the code out of my Word document when my essay is due so the teacher can't open the file. Oh no, it must be a corrupted file. Also, why are they so trashy? Why is everything the right does feel like a fucking parody? This is the most Righteous Gemstones shit. If you have seen Righteous Gemstones, what is the difference? Why are they obsessed with the pyrotechnics? Why are they obsessed with the like cheap looking sequined outfits? All the monster truck WWE vibe. It's so gauche. It's so ridiculous. Who looks at this and is like, oh yeah, no, these people are devastated? Who looks at this and is like, oh, there's genuine devastation? No, man, it's all cheap spectacle. It's so fake. They didn't give a shit about Charlie Kirk. Will someone please find me a Righteous Gemstones clip that people who haven't watched the show can know what we mean when we're like, this is just Righteous Gemstones. Uncle Baby Billy. Did you see they recreated the tent? Everything feels like The Onion. nothing feels real. It all feels like it's a bad parody.
A recreation of the tent where
This is something that Charlie Kirk haters aren't even doing. Recreating the moment that Charlie Kirk died in this specific of a way where it's like, hey, come relive Charlie Kirk's final moments. Not even his biggest haters are doing this shit. This is like straight out of The Boys.
Charlie Kirk lost his life at Utah University in September, and people are taking selfies with it. You can see from
what do you even say? How do you look at this and not fucking burst out laughing at the absurdity? At the absurdity, doing a thumbs up in a recreation, waiting in line to take a photo of the recreation of when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. It's It's so stupid. Everything is so stupid.
Behind me, this is a recreation of the tent where Charlie Kirk lost his
Miss
life
you,
at Utah
Charlie.
University in September, and people are taking selfies with it. You can see from behind me.
They might as well wheeled out a like paper mache visualization of Charlie Kirk with a bullet in his throat and blood everywhere. Like, might as well go all the way. Why not?
This is a
I just don't. Turning Point USA recreated the moment Charlie Kirk was executed at their convention for people to take selfies with. It's giving Passion of the Kirk. Yeah, so between Erica Kirk walking out to the WWE style pyrotechnics with the roaring crowd and her gold sequin outfit, looking nothing in the world like someone who is genuinely upset about the horrific assassination of their husband. Chatter said Stations of the Cross, and that's literally the best description of what's going on here. I just, these people cannot be serious. Turning Point USA installs replica of tent where Charlie Kirk was killed for annual convention. What the fuck? Oh, it's so everything they do is just so tacky and so you can't write parody better than this. Here's a Righteous Gemstones clip jetpack performance. Uncle Baby Bill.
Here we go now. Gemstone roll call. I say, Jesse, where you at?
Thank you.
Come on.
Let me just tell you if you don't know this show. So, Righteous Gemstones is about a family, a world famous, very, very rich family of televangelists, and they are called the Gemstones. The head of the Gemstones is the patriarch is Eli, and then he has 3 children, Jesse, Kelvin, and Judy, and they are all horrible and selfish and in competition to take over the empire. And it is, yeah, so essentially it is a satirical, darkly humorous look at the lavishly corruptly wealthy world of televangelists.
Oh, Judy Lee.
Yeah, it's like mega church Succession.
Go out here. Woo! All right, Kelvin, are you still here? Yes. Oh, yeah. Ha. Ha ha. Hey, everybody. Good God Almighty. It's my favorite time of the year. The Amy Lee.
I mean, what I will say though is at least this is fun. At least this is catchy and campy. I'm with it.
Birthday celebration give-a-thon, y'all. So happy everybody was here. Raising money, lifting spirits. Celebration. My cup's spilling over now. Celebrating a mama's birthday, yeah. Celebration. Happy birthday, sister.
Oh, Jesus Christ, can you hear us? Thank you for coming out to the Amy Lee Gemstone Birthday Telethon. Well, you know we couldn't leave you without one more little ditty. Let's send them home.
Look out now.
Oh my gosh. Big sexy Paul? Big sexy Paul 94. Thank you for the raid. Hello. I'm trying. You know what? Thank you for the raid. Exactly 3,000 raiders.
Oh, shit! Jesus Christ! Oh, fuck!
Cut! Cut, goddammit!
Oh, God.
This is the climax to the whole telethon.
I feel unsafe here.
Messing up like this on live TV.
Get off me!
My jetpack is hissing.
Get off me! Fuck me!
The fucking thing it's speeding up. Jesus Christ!
Fuck my handsome white ass.
The Charlie Kirk Celebrations wishes it was this good. They wish that they could do camp like this. Sus raid? I don't know what you're talking about. That was a very real, authentic raid. If you are a person who gets choked up by this, who falls for this stick, who's sitting there, shedding tears at how unbelievably beautiful this is, well, then you are a person who belongs in this community. Then God damn it, are you in good company? Because I saw this and I just burst into tears. I could not stop sobbing. There is no better way to celebrate, to honor, to remember Charlie Kirk and to carry on his work than what you see in front of your eyes. We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame. The flame being these pyrotechnics. She needs to be making sure her kids are okay, not doing this mess. No, her kids need her to be doing this. That's what they need. You know not. She is Charlie Kirk, carrying on the flame. All I will say is Erica Kirk is a person who I think when you look at her past, it all makes sense. When you look at her former Trump pageantry reality TV resume, I don't think you should be surprised. I do think the characterization of Erica Kirk can be based on her former past. I don't think it should be that hard to figure out who she is and what her ambitions are. Okay, let's watch Kristen Stewart talking about how Hollywood is stuck in capitalist hell.
Fix it.
Things are as exciting as an artist we thought we knew becoming someone different. Kristen Stewart has
What
shown
are
us that
you?
a few times.
Say it.
She was still a teenager when Twilight made her globally famous, but by her mid-20s, she stepped away from big-budget Hollywood movies, favoring independent films and nuanced roles.
How am I doing?
Like an unraveling Princess Diana in 2021's Spencer, which earned her an Oscar nomination.
I'm not moving from this spot. You'll just have to shoot me.
She's transformed off-screen too. Early on, Stewart's relationship with her Twilight co-star Robert Pattinson made her a favorite target of the tabloid press. And in her public appearances, she could seem
And also Donald Trump.
intensely uncomfortable.
The lady in the house. Yeah, barely. That's what I'm talking about.
But as I found out when we spoke, Stewart, who came out in 2017 and got married earlier this year, seems to be riding some entirely new energy. She recently directed her first feature-length film, The Chronology of Water, about a competitive swimmer who wrestles with various traumas on her way to becoming the writer she needs to be. It's a bold movie, and one that raises all kinds of questions about womanhood, sexuality, and the stories we choose to tell about ourselves. Those are questions Stewart is still asking.
I will say about Kristen Stewart, I do feel as if she has always been an interesting person and artist, and I think that was kind of obscured. And I think her belonging to this world that I think kind of put her in a box, and she was a child actress who then starred in one of the biggest teenage oriented franchises of all time. And I think, you know, her dating hot young male actors and kind of playing the role of like, yeah, I'm an ingenue who likes men. And then once Kristen Stewart really kind of really went down a different path and she came out as gay and she married a woman, I feel like her career choices and chat is not on screen. Her career choices. I didn't realize that I had put. Sorry, my bad. Her career choices, I think, just reflected how she is an interesting artist, and I have, I guess, I think I've become more of a fan of Kay Stu and her work once she came out as gay. Not because I'm like, oh, you can't be straight and be talented, but because I think those two things, how she was in her personal life and kind of breaking out of these heteronormative constraints, and that being tied up with her professional career. So I don't think it's just a coincidence. I think Kay Stu, I think her choosing a more authentic life for herself has had an effect on her career.
Herself in a way that's so exuberant, to use one of her words, that it made for a very fun interview. Here's my conversation with Kristen Stewart.
Hi, Kristen. How are you?
This is a heterophobic
I'm good.
community.
Thank you
It
for
is.
taking the time to come do this. I appreciate it.
I'm phobic
I am
myself.
100% honored, truly.
All right, we'll just get right into it.
Okay.
So you've been trying to make The Chronology of Water for, I think it's close to 10 years. And, you know, it's a memoir that involves a lot of really heavy stuff. You know, there's addiction, child abuse, the loss of an infant. And I'm just wondering, when you first read the book, what was it about that material that made you feel like this was a story that you had to tell?
It was the way that she told it. It was the fact of the telling. There
Have you
is
watched
an
this?
invitation
Not
in that
yet.
text to kind of excavate your own memories. And also it's about the things that you just mentioned, but for me, it's much less about the things that happened.
I watched something else she directed, Kristen Stewart. I think it was a short film. Yeah, it was called Come Swim. It's a short film written and directed by Kristen Stewart. It was shown at Cannes Film Festival in 2017.
To Lydia, and much more about how she reorients those things and writes them down. The idea of selfhood, just the idea of diaristic writing by women feeling and being criticized for being like selfish and narcissistic. It's like, oh, sorry, I was being selfish. I wanted a self. It's like anytime you start talking about yourself, it becomes kind of this tired, pathetic, messy thing. And I wanted to make something tired, pathetic, and messy that felt exuberant and achieved and, you know, encouraging.
You opened up a lot of doors with that answer. So
yeah, well,
let's start going through some of them. But, you know, I think you said that your interest in the material wasn't necessarily so much about the particulars of Lydia's experience as it was the way that the writing invited you to sort of examine the particulars of your own experience. And I just wonder if you can kind of make that concrete a little bit. Like what
you know, as soon as you start making those things specific, you fully and completely dilute the point. You know, in the beginning of the movie, we show a series of images of a woman bleeding at various times in her life. There's a way that that blood sticks to the grout before it runs down the drain that indicates that that did not come from a laceration or a cut. It came from an orifice. That is a very, very specific experience, but it is also general enough for everyone to kind of insert their lives into the movie if you are a woman, or if you might have ever loved a woman or heard her speak about what it feels like to bleed from the place that hurts the most but that creates life. You know, the movie is called Tough because when you reduce it to these specific plot points, it provides an arena for men to feel a lot of shame. And you don't have, it's honestly quite like, it's very self-revealing because sometimes I talk to people, I'm like, is the thing that you took away from this not that it's an exuberant, bloodletting, telling, secret-bearing, sort of like joyous celebration of a woman finding herself in her own volition and freedom? Or is it that it was like kind of awkward because for you to acknowledge that, you know, those things don't happen to everyone, but they do happen to most women is awkward. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, yeah, sure. Like I specifically think of things that have happened in my life, but if the question is like, you know, what concrete things did I have an abusive relationship with my father? No. Do I resent him when he comments on my appearance? Yes. Don't consider, you know what I mean? It's like, it's all about how we're contextualized by the male gaze.
You know, I think an idea that I was
also just how, looking back, and when Kristen Stewart started to lose the kind of more conventional look, you know, she cut her bangs. She had a kind of asymmetrical haircut that was very different from the long flowing locks that she had. Just how she changed up her style when she became more kind of gender non-conforming, and the response to that by the media, by the public, was cruel. Like I just remember seeing a lot of what happened to her, and it's like, oh, she's gay and she's discovering her personal sense of style and is not just trying to be like conventionally pretty little ingenue in Hollywood. Oh, the queer effect. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, but as I was watching the film, was the relationship between one's own experience and sort of the emotionally intense experiences of
gay happened.
In this case, the author. But I think kind of what I hear you saying is that my question is maybe a little bit irrelevant.
I think that question is super necessary and interesting, and I do really appreciate it, because what I want to say always is that if you get bogged down in the details and you pick this woman apart, you're not giving her a chance to be as genius as she is. And so I think it's definitely important to talk about the fact that this is not a movie about this one woman. It's a movie about women being allowed to speak for themselves and be people.
That was a very elegant and impassioned way of saying,
it's the morning
nice question,
time.
dummy.
No, not at all. I literally don't mean to talk down to that question. Like, what else are you going to ask me? It does seem like what the movie's about. Like, I do not like, I'm a morning person.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, hey. Yeah, I'm sorry.
She cheated with a married man, red flag for me. Yeah, we should discard people when they make mistakes like cheating, which is not something that anyone's condoning here, but something that is a common human behavior. People being messy in their interpersonal relationships. Also, are you saying it's a red flag? Like you won't date Kristen Stewart? I lose all attraction towards a cheater. That's fine. I don't think that you and Kristen Stewart are gonna be in a romantic relationship. Okay. That's cool. You're good. You're good. Yeah, I don't think her wife minds. Yes, I won't date her. Tough guy, Walkman. I'm trying to get at that. I don't think there's any world where that's a possibility, so you don't have to worry about the fact that years and years ago, Kristen Stewart had an affair.
This is a total naive question, but why does it take 8 years to make a movie like this?
Kristen Stewart.
It's not like a giant special effects movie or, a bunch of locations all over the world or something. So it seems like an unusually long time. Maybe it's not in your business, but
I was
going
lucky
on?
to be allowed to make this movie at all. I don't know that this movie would have gotten financed by.
If everyone was judged solely on the mistakes they made in their teens and early 20s, we were all doomed. Ugh, I mean, God, I don't even want to get into this all again. But now, just this binary world we exist in, now this it's especially for women, of course, for women, any missteps, and it doesn't matter if other people like men were involved in that as well. You are responsible, and it is an indication that you should be burned at the stake. Oh, you behaved imperfectly. You behaved improperly. Now we get to kill you.
Anyone, if I wasn't me. I had to do a lot of kicking and screaming. I think it's a multi-tiered answer that I hope I have the sort of wherewithal to organize at this moment. And, I had never made a movie before. It does not have a 3-act structure that is easy to classify. And so most of the time it's difficult to pay for something that doesn't have an equatable success story. You know what I mean? Like something that you go, oh, well, this is going to be great because we've seen it before. Yeah, exactly. It's like this meets this is always how you try and like sell and market a movie. Yeah. It's like, I don't know what.
Incredibly relevant to that New York Times article you had on the other tab. You spied that, huh? I don't know if I'll have covered
this meets anything.
Tonight,
but this had to be the first thing I said. It just had to be because it's about saying things. But it took a long time because it is unsavory, unpalatable, because it is about violation and repossession, and also how fun it is to watch someone do that because she is just a force. She's like a tsunami. And also there's a sexuality in it that just feels like fucking delicious.
I think you were just talking about, in a way, the idea of Lydia's sense of abandon. Mm-hmm. And, that could be sexual abandon, creative abandon, abandon when it comes to drinking or drug use, abandon with relationships. I think abandon in one's life is important. Because there's I think a real connection between abandon and like it's sort of a concentric circle or an overlapping circle with transcendence in a certain way. But this is also connected because I think abandon does require some degree of anonymity, or you don't want like a voice over here while you're trying to really lose yourself.
Just video
and
subtitles.
I wonder if, just sort of given that you're a public figure in some way, if it's hard for you to feel abandoned or have moments of transcendence.
Yeah. I don't self-censor. I don't fixate on kind of how things are going to land on other people because I'm not smart enough. It would just be so inauthentic. I mean, I guess it just.
Do you think it's a matter of intelligence?
Some people are mastermind, crazy control freak, and like, I just don't have that. Like, ultimately, I think those people are probably going to like die young and like, I don't know. That's like, I think it would take years off your life to try and think in those terms. But I've been lucky enough to sort of find the moments that I fell on my face in public, or, a nice healthy amount of humiliation is really humbling. You know what I mean? Like, and it also makes you realize too that like, that first scratch, who cares? Like after that first scratch, you just go like, okay, so crash the car. You know what I mean? Like we can fix it. But I think like the way that I've been allowed to bounce off of people has felt so fruitful. Largely.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the whole. Sorry.
I remember finding it odd when she was in Twilight. People kept commenting on her voice, like women aren't allowed to be monotone, because if that's the case, my wife is in trouble. Yeah, it's also like the popularized term resting bitch face. How many women will be like, oh yeah, I know I have what resting bitch face, but like I promise I'm not a bitch. It's like, first of all, what is resting bitch face? Like, are as a woman, are we supposed to be like always? And who, like, why is it bad? Why is it bad if you're a person who most of the time, if you glance over and see that someone's face is like, so what are they supposed to do? You think that this is better? Do you think this is better to just is this better? Is this normal?
But the the way that people who don't know you have a relationship with you.
They make horror movies with this as the
it's a
horror
very
element.
rare mode of human existence. So what have you sort of taken away from like being one of these few people who can actually like witness what it's like to like become a character in a story not of their own making?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you find yourself on something that doesn't really know what it's saying. And so then the sort of subsequent conversation is confused and sort of ambiguous and becomes like very selly. Like it feels like really like you're just like a capitalist cog. Which we all are. I mean, like that's like what it is. I want
Speak for
everyone to
yourself.
go, hey, go buy a ticket to the Chronology of Water Christmas Day. But like yeah, like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know, it's definitely possible to be truthful within the system. But then when you're trying to sell something, it does sort of inherently get bizarre. The sort of negotiation. I was working with a director that was like talking about an actress who was thinking about whether or not they should do a film. And they were like, well, I think the market right now is, and I was like, I don't think I've ever said the word market unless I was going to buy some oranges. And that is just how I function. And even if that's naive, I am willfully, like, honestly, tunnel vision. And I know you did ask a slightly different question, like if I'm telling someone else's story, what it feels like to do that on maybe such like a large scale that, and is part of a business. Maybe was that your question?
I think you should just let it rip. Just go
okay.
with where you were going.
Yeah, you're like, not at all. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just it's a funny thing to find yourself kind of desperate to have people come see what you worked on, but then also have that wrapped up in whether or not, it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
And I don't think I answered your question, but maybe the next one I'll get closer to. Right?
No, sometimes people say like, I don't think I answered your question, but every answer is revealing.
Yeah, I mean, that is the struggle that artists feel in a capitalist society when creating something. And, does it have worth only if it's financially successful, only if you're able to sell, to do the business aspect of show business. And it's a very difficult thing to reckon that with authentic creativity of, not wanting to worry about, not wanting any determinations about your art to be made on any type of scalable success
in its own way.
Like any type of measurable success as, oh, well, this is how many seats were sold. Oh, this is how many $1 million it did at the box office. Kristen Stewart is literally used as an example for resting bitch face. Yeah, that her monotone voice. It's not good. Simply not good. Kristen Stewart needs to do better.
That's not the answer to the question I expected.
But now I'm like so curious about what you were asking, but it's okay, we can move on.
No, I was just asking, it's like, at some point you became a character in the tabloids.
Right.
And I was curious about what do you learn from seeing this character, Kristen Stewart, out in the world, in that world specifically.
Oh, interesting.
And it's not you. It's this character, Kristen Stewart, that has been created.
Yeah, but I know, but what is that? Sometimes it is.
I said it like, I know you. I don't know you. Maybe it was you.
But you do know me now, and that belongs to you. And you can think anything about me that you want. Do you know what I mean? I have given you those details. It's like when I guess the part that if I've ever been frustrated, it's because, they get the wrong information, or you sort of go that's not who I think I am. But then you go who you think you are has nothing to do with what other people think you are. And so no one's wrong,
Yeah.
And that's the relinquishing of control that I'm talking about. Is you really just you must slide, or else it's not about not being smart enough to control it. It's that it's not possible.
Right. So it would just be an exercise in futility if you tried.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just you said something a second ago about sort of the connection between the thing you're making and sort of what it means to you. And this, I'm just going to go on a slight little tangent right now because that's where it's just something that popped up to my mind. If you're allowed to go on tangents, I'm
what anyone thinks about me is simply none of my business.
Well, now we're hanging out, so we're going to be off in the ether, and they're going to be we've been talking for an hour and a half. You're done. Go.
But I've always been fixated on
Crying Wolf, thank you for the resub. Tough guy, thank you for the tier 1.
Himself?
Throughout his life, yes.
Oh
the answer, yes, I have been. But it's particularly his performance as Superman's dad in the first Superman film.
If your people tell her people.
Has to say
I'll
the
text
word
her right now.
Krypton in that movie. The planet where Superman is from. And
I've never seen this. Does he not say it? Is he Krypton?
You are the only survivor of the planet Krypton.
That's exactly how he says it. He says Krypton.
God, Krypton. I know because he can't commit to Krypton.
He can't.
I can picture this, and I've never seen the movie.
He says Krypton, though, and everyone else in the movie says Krypton. And I'm sure at some point somebody's like, Marlon, it's actually pronounced Krypton. And then I brought this up.
Poor male actors. God, it must just be so painful.
It must have been hard to be Marlon Brando. But I brought this up in sort of a similar context with Sean Penn, because he knew Marlon Brando, and I was like, it's just weird that Brando wouldn't do that. What was going on? And he suggested that actually not pronouncing Krypton correctly was Brando's way of sort of retaining some part of himself, even though he was doing this sellout movie. It's I can take your money, but I'm not giving you my soul. Mm-hmm. And I thought, that probably is what was going on. He had to hold on to some little measure of artistic independence, even though he knew he was doing this thing that was kind of it was a paycheck job.
Yeah.
Have you had similar experiences, or does that resonate with you at all?
That has kickstarted so many.
Oh, good. We're in it now, Kristen. Yeah.
Okay, so performance is inherently vulnerable and therefore quite embarrassing and unmasculine. You know what I mean? There's no bravado in suggesting that you're a mouthpiece now for someone else's ideas, and that to sort of lend yourself, it's just inherently submissive.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a female actor that was method? And I mean, like, really, like, you know,
Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot is method every day.
and I'm not coming for like the method. I don't even know enough about the
I know what you're saying.
method.
I mean, the only name that comes to mind is a teacher, Stella Adler, but I can't
Sure.
I can't think of a
Hello,
performer who's associated
no.
with it
Right. So
in the way that some men are associated with it.
Right. Men are aggrandized for retaining self. That was like, he's been really like, he sounds like a hero, doesn't he?
Yeah.
If a woman did that, it would be really, and I don't want to say this like black and white, like for sure, I know that there would be this difference, but I truly believe from a very insider's perspective that if you have to do 50 push-ups before you're close up, or if you refuse to sort of say a word a certain way, or if you can't sit down in an interview and not kind of like repossess and belittle every question, especially if asked by a woman to you, the movie star. I mean, like Brando, I'm not coming for him. Incredible performer.
Kristen Stewart is canceling Marlon Brando.
There's a kind of like really common act that happens before the acting happens sometimes on set. Not only does it waste time, it draws attention, it siphons. And look, I get it, sort of if it makes everyone stand at attention and sort of, if you can protrude out of the vulnerability a little bit and you can sort of feel like, a gorilla pounding their chest before they cry on camera, it's a little less embarrassing to see. And also it makes it seem like it's a magic trick. It makes it seem like it's so impossible to do what you're doing that nobody else could do it.
Also maybe a form of control.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
I think maybe the Krypton
Little
thing
ego.
is,
Just say
let me
it,
think.
Queen.
Let me think of a way to kind of sum this up so I don't like totally ruin this point. It's so defensive, it's like I had a recent conversation that will, speak to this and maybe finish the point. I asked a fellow actor, have you ever met a female actor that was like method and needed to sort of scream and, do a whole thing where as soon as I said the word male actor, female actor, he got like so defensive. And he's like one of my best friends. The reaction was so kind of like, do not mention the elephant in the room. And he goes, oh, actresses are crazy. And I was like, now I'm crazy. And then I was like, wait, but really answer the
That was
question.
his answer? That was his response?
Yeah,
Actresses are crazy.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hold on a second, you just called me crazy.
Oh, no.
And I was like, cool, so now we're just doing the typical thing where the girl is crazy and you didn't even listen to anything I said because I said the word male, female actor.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is something I've talked about a lot on my stream, is the permission that is given to men to be, as long as they're great men and as long as it is seen as in service of that greatness, but to be terrible, to be the tortured artist that is not permissible for women. We know what happens when a woman is deemed difficult. It's a death sentence. And usually her being difficult is not like physically abusing people on set. It's not, showing up drunk and ripping things apart. It's usually that she said something in an interview that the director didn't like, or that she was like, just behaving in ways that are unbecoming of what is allowed and what is allowed for women. Yeah, the Katherine Heigl effect. Yeah, I mean, we know difficult often in Hollywood, and it's not like there aren't bad women. Don't get me wrong. It's not like there aren't bad women. But often the word difficult is synonymous with a woman who is standing up for herself, who's fighting for who's fighting for equal payment with her male peers, who is speaking out in a way that men don't like. And so there's absolutely a difference here in what is permissible for men versus what is permissible for women. Somehow Jared Leto still has a career. Somehow a lot of these men still have a career. I mean, how many stories do you hear of like, oh, this great writer or actor or director, and yes, he was an alcoholic who would, scream at people and throw chairs, and yes, he was abusive in so many ways, and blah 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 blah. All of these, all of these behaviors that were quite nasty and unkind, and yet none of that mattered, because the only thing that matters is the greatness, the great artistic merits, is the talent. It's the attitudes of why, like, people don't want men to face consequences when their abusive behavior is found out, because of viewing their, what they have contributed culturally, what they possess as far as talent, as being the most important thing. Johnny Depp was straight up fighting people on set. Yeah. Long before Amber Heard, Johnny Depp had a horrible reputation, but it didn't matter because he was Johnny Depp.
And so, I do think that there's like a large difference in terms of performance and generosity and giving, and we are made to give. We are literally designed to give you what you want. And we're really good at it, and we really love it. And men are designed to give, like, in a very different way and to take, you know what I mean? So I think, that's we could talk about that for like 5 hours.
Let me just scratch my next question. Why are actresses crazy? Not gonna ask that.
Oh man, love you, bro.
But
I feel like the term difficult somehow also swings around the male actor side, downplays abuse or belligerent behavior is more casual. Absolutely.
When I was going back through your films, there sort of are two little periods that I'm just sort of, I was wondering if they were kind of like inflection points in some way. And so the first was when you did the Snow White film.
You must turn back! No! I gave them my word!
I want to say that was the same year that the last Twilight film came out.
It was.
And both those movies did very well.
Yeah.
And then you didn't do another, I don't know what you'd want to call it, sort of like a big spectacular studio film for a few years until the Charlie's Angels reboot.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you? Oh, me? Just the decoy style.
Then you haven't gone back to that particular well since.
Yeah.
And I just wondered if you had thought to yourself, all right, I'm kind of done with those types of films for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then did you make a decision like with Charlie's Angels, I'm going to try again, and that ended up not feeling right and you haven't done it since?
Yeah. I wanted to help Liz Banks do her thing.
The director of the Charlie's Angels.
Yeah,
film.
she directed Charlie's. And, I guess I was maybe feeling a little bit hopeful and optimistic. But I really just don't, I don't believe,
how come do you think men have this past? Is it because they need these men impulses for making? So when it comes to the kind of the perception of the male tortured artists, the troubled genius, that troubled nature, that however it manifests itself in addiction, in being abusive, in being quite difficult, is seen as necessary, as an essential part of a man's creative genius, whereas for women, it's dismissed. It's seen as out of line with how women are societally expected to behave. It's not seen as essential to their genius. It's seen as it's seen in like a pathological way and treated as such. But yeah, this just has to do with gender biases, norms, power dynamics, just how things go with how we view men, and the the construction of maleness versus women.
Spiritually and philosophically disagree with the sort of committee process, you know. I think a movie comes from someone's singularity and their perspective and their soul, and I hate signing on to something and seeing something with potential life be destroyed. And just, you know, I'm not saying that Charlie's Angels was destroyed. It's more the day-to-day. I like that movie. I don't think it's impossible to make a film that speaks to people, that's valuable, that feels good, and that's worth paying for under those circumstances. But I don't have to do it, and so I don't want to. So yeah, like it's, I think as an actor, I don't feel the need to feed the machine anymore. And when I was younger, I was kind of jealous, you know? I was kind of greedy. I was like, maybe I could make that work. Maybe that'll be fun. But it just wasn't. Like, I want to play. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to not get invited to the party, but then you go to the party and you're like, this party sucks.
Most of the people who encounter this conversation will not have experience of what it's like to be on a movie set. So when you refer to like the day-to-day of that sucks, like what does that mean? Like what happens that you're like, this is not what I want to be doing?
Sure. Test screenings, you know, like literal on paper numbered equations that tell you whether or not a joke is funny. 10 people who are over the age of 50 and male weighing in on what my queer character's hair should look like. Completely sucking the colloquialism, like anything that makes anything specific. You go, ooh, that's not going to relate. You know what I mean? It's just, and so it's like, yeah, day to day, you watch something with kind of detail and color become really gray. And
it's dispiriting.
It's dispiriting, yeah, it's demoralizing, and it's also entirely misogynistic and chauvinistic, and it's like just not the realm that really creates an environment for me to want to be vulnerable in. And that's like my whole job as an actor. It's why guys get embarrassed about being embarrassed. You know what I mean? So my job is to be embarrassed, but to feel safe doing it. And so in environments like that, with people like that, I don't feel safe, nor should I.
Yeah. And, you know, where I was going originally with that question was maybe like an overly literal interpretation of your use of the word greedy.
Oh yeah.
But I
energetically, I don't mean like.
Is there?
Sempra, thank you.
Has there ever been an aspect of like, well, it's hard to say no when somebody's offering you millions of dollars to do something?
I mean, not to. Well, I would just be like fully transparent.
Yeah.
I was such a little guy when I made Twilight. I made a lot of money. Yeah. Like I'm so unbelievably lucky.
Something like that.
Yes. Yeah. I've been so.
How long have you been 17? A while.
Lucky to not have to function from a place of like, you know, creating security for myself or my family. Like Twilight blew up in our faces, you know, and the positive repercussions of that, I'm so grateful for. But I think if that never happened, I would be scraping the bottom of every barrel to never make another studio movie again and never, you know what I mean? It's like, it's the setup that I think is the most cohesive to a beautiful life.
So we're not getting Twilight 6?
Answered my next question a little bit, but I'll ask it regardless, and maybe there's more to say. But I was really thinking about what it means for an artist to be so young, like you were when you made the first Twilight film, and for that to go gangbusters, and then to not really have to worry about money anymore. Because I could imagine that being completely freeing. I could also imagine that, you know, sometimes like having the wide open horizon is actually paralyzing, you know? So how do you think that...
It's interesting because you have this category of actors who at a pretty young age, starred in a massive franchise, made a fucking bag, millions and millions of dollars at a very young age, and then seeing the choices that they make afterwards. You know, you have the Daniel Radcliffes, the Elijah Woods, Kristen Stewarts, where they made so much money doing the huge franchises they were a part of that afterwards they were like, I can now just pursue exactly what I want to creatively and not be worrying about anything else. But then there's actors who it's like they've made so much money and yet continue to do studio films that are not really creatively thrilling. And I always wonder about those people, like the infinite bag chasing, where I go, for you, is it just about money? Because it's kind of hard to think that maybe it's not. When you have gotten so many bags. Now, Nicolas Cage is broke. No, that Nicolas Cage is different. The reason Nicolas Cage acts in everything and has, so many movies come out every year is because that man has debts. He's got big
what
time
did
debts.
that change for you in terms of what you decided you wanted to do with the rest of your life?
I'm trying to think about like when I transitioned into being a real grown-up adult who was like, hold on a second, what's going on here?
Still happening.
Yeah, it's still happening, truly. And I think maybe I have this kind of like willful, not willful, like, if you got a lot of money, you really got to give a lot of it away and you really got to share it and you really got to make sure that like, I know for a fact I would be able to make myself happy artistically without it. And also the ever-changing climate, I don't even know the structures that are like the ones that we believe in now. Who knows what the world is going to look like in like 5-10 years? You know what I mean? Like it truly is, we're like at a pivotal nexus because I think we're ready for a full system break. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think we need to and I mean that across the board and also specific to like the world that I live in, which is like very exclusively the entertainment industry.
And what would a system break look like in the world that you live in?
I don't know. I think we need to start sort of stealing our movies. I'm so appreciative of every union. Trust me, we would not survive without them. But some of the terms and some of the rules and some of the structures we've set up have created unbelievable barriers for artists to express themselves.
Hogan, thank you for the gifted.
I think that without being unfaithful, ungrateful, I think we need a little workaround. I just don't think, I think having it be so impossible for people to tell stories and having it be such an exclusive and rarefied novel position to be in, to find yourself doing so is capitalist hell. And it hates women and it hates marginalized voices and it's racist. And I think that we need to figure out a way to make it easier to speak to each other through in cinematic terms. It's too hard to make movies right now that aren't blockbustery, whatever, proven equations. And so what does that mean? I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure it out. But the next movie I want to make, I want to do it for nothing. I want to make not $1. I want it to be a smash hit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's just so difficult to make movies. It just doesn't need to be. So yeah, I'm just trying to think of some sort of weird, like Marxist communist like situation that other people can definitely think like, of course this psycho is saying that, but I think it's possible, especially in these kind of narrow.
In the last couple weeks, we've had Kristen Stewart talking with the New York Times about Marxist communism. And we've had Amanda Seyfried being like, I think socialism is gorgeous. I think the tenets, the core of what socialism is, I just think that's a beautiful thing.
Exclusive environments. I'm not talking about the world at large, but for us, we've just made it The system has barred people and made it too difficult to be honest.
I'm not sure if you were using this example sarcastically or not, but when you said, you want to basically make a movie for nothing that's a huge hit, do you think you, Kristen Stewart, could make a movie that's a huge hit, that is the movie that you want to make?
Well, and I think too, one problem with the current industry and how things have shifted away from theaters and home video and other physical media like that is that a lot of films now, they don't have the chance to be a hit unless they make a ton of money. Where you don't have a film that could be so culturally important, could become, a cult classic type of film, because there's not the environment for that, not the structures in place. So it's eliminated this entire sector of films that are created purely with the pursuit of art in mind, and not so much as designed to make a shit ton of money. VHS DVD rentals could allow us to film a second boom of popularity called classics. People found it. The current way, it's buried in streaming.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by like huge hit. I mean, if we hit, if the target is like, I know everyone says this, Marvel is like the tentpole reference for like big movies. But like, pick another one, because I'm not coming for that specifically. But if that's the goal, probably nothing like that. Because again, I do think that requires a little bit of like homogeny. But if you do something for nothing and you reach even just a small number of people, that's enough for me. Do you know what I mean? A huge hit in terms of it got a theatrical release, that we did a few interviews about it, that we had a couple screenings, that some people watched it, that some person on Letterboxd said, oh, wow, that changed me. Do you know what I mean? Like that truly is a hit.
It's sort of underneath the conversation has been this idea of sort of like who.
And also.
Oh, yeah?
We could totally make a huge hit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just realized that your question was like, do you think that
God, I love when people in this community clock chatters.
To your own devices.
I wonder if about your sensibility.
Totally, my
yeah,
sensibility.
Yeah.
Do I think it could land on like a large number of people?
Yeah.
I think that if people had the, cojones to allow one person to lead the charge, and they were actually financed and supported and believed in, that people would start going to the movies again. And not just to go see like, Marvel 10.
I didn't mean to imply that. I didn't have faith that you could.
I'm not saying it's you. I just realized like what you asked me, and I was like, yes,
hey, you
we could
go
make a
see
huge
Marvel
hit,
10?
smash hit. Yeah.
Barbie,
dude.
Which one?
Barbie.
Oh,
So
Barbie.
funny.
Yeah. Did you like Barbie?
I love that movie.
Yeah. I just want to say one thing about Barbie, which I liked very much also.
Sure.
This
is a divisive subject, yeah.
Yes. Also, no one cares what I have to say about Barbie, but I want to express it anyway.
That's not true.
My one problem with that movie, which I enjoyed very much, I took my two daughters to go see it. They were at the time probably 6 and 8 or something like that. They're just enraptured watching it. And I thought the takeaway of this movie, even though there are things that are subversive about it and things that are sort of politically and societally and culturally critical about it, the takeaway of this movie is that Barbie dolls are cool.
Yeah, I hear you. Like maybe it ironically
a critique of the thing is also can also still be an advertisement for the thing.
Right.
Yeah. Just something to
think
about.
Look, no.
Why do you think Mattel lent out their IP?
I'm like 100%. I do hear you. I think,
and not lent out. I mean, why?
I think for a woman to be allowed to make a movie of that
Brothers.
scale and how physical it was, like she built all the sets, she made a world to live in, and then she totally took Barbie and broke her into a million pieces.
Greta Gerwig you're talking about.
Yeah. And the villains were like the Mattel executives, all of it. It's like I'm surprised that Mattel let her make that movie. I thought it was so critical of the entire notion of being sort of like put into our little packages and boxes, and how like sort of like, but I hear you. At the same time, you see a big poster for that Margot Robbie's on, and you're like, oh my God, that is the picture of beauty. Yeah, of course you go, that is perpetuating for sure. Yeah, you know, it's complicated because I actually completely understand what you're saying. But when I watched the movie, I was just sitting there like I was just sort of like stream crying, like just the fact that she was allowed to do it, the fact that she was allowed to make obscure jokes about Proust in a movie about Barbie, and then like weird Barbie. There was just, I don't know. I love the fact of it. But I hear you.
did very much
this isn't gonna
appreciate-
end up in the fucking
No, no, I
things.
did
We didn't
ve-
even make a point, but
I sort of,
Sunbun, thank you for the 38 months.
Twice was trying to lead up to like a bigger kind of like final encapsulation question about how, you know, the idea that we've, kind of are talking about the story of you in various ways. But I think I might save that because we're talking again, and I know you have to split very shortly.
these are always the questions at the end. Honestly, I can always feel the approach of the end of an interview where I go, and you're not doing it. This is just inherent. This happens to us all. I always go, okay, here we go. Time for the summary, or like time to imbue the whole conversation with like, you know, my imparting thoughts.
Yeah, we only have so many tricks.
It's hard.
It's another card we're going to play every time. But I'm going to end in a different way. I was just reading a book last night by this really brilliant psychoanalyst and writer named Adam Phillips. And there was one offhand thing that he had in there that I thought that would be a good question to ask someone.
Cool.
And so in the book,
Sorry, wait, what's the book called again?
the book is called, I think it's called On Becoming, something like that.
Oh, okay,
On
cool.
Becoming, yeah. And he quotes someone else who said that the only modern question is, what is it you don't want to know about yourself? What's your answer to that question?
I guess I would be really ashamed if all of this to do, working on movies, talking about them, taking pictures, putting on clothes, like it's inherently self-serving, of course, but that selfishness, it's just so mutual. Like we all want for ourselves. But I think like, okay, philosophical question. If there's something that you don't want to know about yourself, what is it? I don't know, man. I really hate like mean people, and I really don't think I am one.
Yeah, I was thinking along the same lines. Like something you don't want to learn about yourself is like, who are people that I have potentially, without realizing, hurt, you know, at some point in my life.
But maybe.
Yeah, my possible
Sometimes if I'm
cruelty.
like feeling threatened, I can be mean. But like, God, I wish I had a bet. Do you have anything?
Were you tiptoeing at the beginning of your answer to something about acknowledging a selfishness in yourself?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, I'm totally not tiptoeing. Like, definitely, like, I hope I'm not just like an egomaniac monster. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, because I think that everyone should listen to me, you know? I think like I should be heard. I think everyone should be, but like there's not that much room. Like it's like, but I
It's
guess
so
on a
real.
base level, I would need more time to think about this. But let's come back to this one too,
Sure,
actually.
sure.
But I think
That's so fucking real, because I feel that too, where look, no streamer can say that there is no element here that does not to a certain degree involve ego and involve like this I don't know, this kind of belief that people should hear what you have to say, or that people should consume what it is that you are putting out. And it's not that there's something inherently wrong with that. But yeah, I have these moments as well where I'm like, what is the line here with me feeling the way that a lot of people do, but just simply taking the steps to achieve that, and then being an egomaniac, being a narcissist. Like how, you know, a lot of us have narcissism in us, just in in pursuing, in pursuing our goals, we like shades of narcissism for sure. Ego, yeah, and I guess it's kind of, I guess I wouldn't want to know if I've just been fooling myself. If in fact the ego, is much more at play here, and like that, I don't know, and that maybe it's the balance isn't being struck as well as I would hope it is. It's a healthy mindset. Introspection's a good thing. Yeah, for sure. I think we should always be doing introspection and just kind of checking in with ourselves and yeah, so maybe that's not, I don't know. I honestly think my answer would be is there a trail of people that I've left damaged with my behavior in this world?
The knowledge about myself.
Because I don't think there is.
Maybe like, do I even really like care about people, or is it just that I'm desperate not to be alone? Do you know what I mean? Like, do I actually care? No, I do though.
Well, it's something for you to think about on your plane ride to Poland, which I know you got a split for.
Yeah,
so
gotta go to Poland, dude.
Thank you very much for taking all the time.
Likewise. Yeah, this was fun.
On the interview, we speak to our guest twice. So Kristen and I spoke again several days later, and we returned to the question of what it is we don't want to know about ourselves.
David, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Are you ready to?
I think you're too thoughtful for that to happen. I will say I am always questioning my motives. I am always trying to be introspective. I am a person who, of course, has ego and confidence, but also is filled with lots of doubt and believing that maybe I shouldn't be in this position, but not believing it enough because I don't remove myself from it.
Yeah.
So you were in Poland yesterday, but now you're in London. Is that right?
Yes.
And how did it go showing the film in Poland?
Incredible audience. You palpably understand the response that an audience has to your film when you enter the room for a Q&A. And it was a bunch of students kind of like leaning,
I like the red with the green,
toward me and not kind of slouched in their chairs with their head in their hands.
Yeah, I like her.
They looked alive. They looked kind of on fire.
Like the
so
whole
I was
vibe.
like, okay, I think this may have gone quite well. It was a fun conversation.
So we had ended our last conversation with kind of like a big question I'd asked that was that I took from this book. I actually had gotten the title wrong before, but the book is called The Life You Want by Adam Phillips. And that question was, what is it you don't want to know about yourself? Have you given any more thought to that question?
Yes. And I've asked a lot of other people what their answers would be, and it is confounding. Nobody has one. Because I think there are so many ways to interpret what that means. Like, is there something that you don't want to find out?
Yeah.
Like is there something within yourself that you're avoiding that you kind of don't want to look at? Or is it something that you really do know in the depths of yourself, but you're avoiding?
I interpreted the question, I think it was the first way that you mentioned. That's like, what's the thing that you maybe don't really want to know about yourself or don't want to have to confront?
Right, something that you do know that you wish you didn't.
Kinda.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you have an answer to this? Do people turn this around on you?
I did come up with answers because I was...
Or something that other people think of you.
I was thinking about it also. And do I feel comfortable getting into those answers?
I mean, you can kind of give me a quickie.
Okay.
Just for conversation's sake. I'm curious. Like, it seems like you thought about it, but it's probably not hard to say, but you don't have to, definitely. I mean, this is about me.
She just flipped the interview. When the interviewee becomes the
they're both
interviewer.
embarrassing. So I'm just going to say them. I'll say them quickly. But the first one is embarrassing because it really is it just is such a cliche. But the first one is why did I not have the guts to try and be like an actual artist earlier in my life? And then the second one is there's sometimes a almost like a feeling of disdain that I can have for my
totally not Arcturus or whatever the fuck your name is. Just so you know, you speaking in English or French doesn't change the fact that you are being disruptive and that you are asking these questions in a way that tells me that maybe your intentions aren't so pure here. Okay, I can read what you're saying in both English and French, and you're being annoying. You're being annoying. You keep incessantly insisting that you are owed answers to questions you're asking me that have nothing to do with the conversation here. Actually, it does, in the way that I think you're being misogynistic in trying to understand what's up with women's vocal fry because it ruins their femininity. So you're not fooling me. Just wanted to let you know. Okay.
My body or my physical appearance, and I'm like, I don't know what that's really about. So those would be my two answers. There you go.
Right. Like you wish you didn't like judge yourself from other, because honestly, that's because that you were not born with that. That's like a weird, insane thing that you caught out there, like a disease, you know? And trust me, that's like, we're all with you. I'm with you. Like, like there are times where I'm like, God, can't you have an easier energy? Like, I wish there were things, but then it's like, is this question about changing yourself, or is it like something you really don't want to know? Because like, if I didn't know that sometimes I made people feel awkward, maybe I just wouldn't feel awkward about making people feel awkward. You know what I mean? It's like,
totally.
And I can tell you, you're a cutie pie, so that's a crock of shit.
Can we, someone clip that and put it on social immediately?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to my next idea for this part of the interview. But I was watching another interview you did recently where about the film, and at the end the interviewer asked you for a kind of like a cultural recommendation that you would give for Hollywood, and you mentioned a film by Barbara Hammer called Multiple Orgasm, which then I went and watched. It sparked a lot. But can just quickly, for people who aren't familiar with that work, can you explain what it is?
Yeah, it's like it's an impressionistic experimental short film by a woman who's like just astoundingly prolific. But I saw that movie and was so shocked because there's a sequence in my film that is very similar. And I was like, oh my God, we saw the same thing and we said it kind of similarly. And it just felt really great. And so I thought maybe people should see that movie. And it's very confronting because it's like pretty graphic in terms of.
Yeah, I need to say, I think you you sort of buried the lead a little bit. I mean, the film it's interspersing of close-up images of a woman masturbating, interspersed with images of sort of natural scenery.
It's relating the female body to like organic material that feels, it's very George O'Keeffe. It's just like a little experimental movie that maybe not everyone has seen. And so I thought maybe it was an important thing to pass on.
The unabashed nature of it connects to something else that I was curious about. And I want to preface this by saying this is going to end up being a question about sex. And if there's, all right, you're nodding, because I was going to say if there's any part where you're like, I really would rather not talk about that, you just give me the sign and I'll move on. But
yeah.
But so the fact that you sort of recommended or that Barbara Hammer film, or it had been kind of in your mind, can combined with the sexual forthrightness of your movie. And then also, this is part of what I was thinking about, also the fact that you made last year the film Love Lies Bleeding, which I kind of thought of in some ways as like a statement film. And that film has so much to do with sort of queer eroticism. All of these things in conjunction made me wonder if there are things that sort of like you've realized about sex, or
I'm just gonna say, if I were interviewing Kristen Stewart and asking her the question, right, and using the words queer eroticism, and then she starts taking her jacket off. I know she's just taking her jacket off. I would feel so intimidated. I would feel like it was just very funny. It's just very funny, the side by side here.
or learned about sex, or
just
are
rolling up her
curious about
sleeves
sex
as I say the
that
words
you've then
queer
wanted to
eroticism.
explore in your work more recently.
If there's anything that I've learned, I think I love watching things that don't feel performative, that do feel inhabited and kind of instinctive, instead of like, oh, I'm really thinking about this like from the outside, like how does this look? And that's often how women have sex. You really want to perform and display that you're into it and good at it, and that whoever you're with is good at it. And maybe if you can perform that, then it can be true. And there's like a slower, more undulating experience that can happen as you get older that I would like to start seeing in art. And I will say that I think that my movie emulates, even in its entire form, the kind of more pleasantly frustrating, longer experience of a success story, which is potentially also related to climax. And you plateau into a sort of contentment after a lot of false victories and false starts, and then you achieve something that feels like self-earned, even if accompanied. And I think like I've seen a lot of sex scenes that are titillating and a lot of sex scenes that are, exterior. I never really again want to stand in a room and watch two people fucking. I've just like my whole life, that's just our whole lives. And it's nice to get an odd angle of it.
Just hearing you talk, it's clear that your mind moves very quickly.
She's talking about like the eroticism of her film versus how oftentimes sex being performative and the depictions of sex being not really how it actually occurs, and just kind of looking at it from a different angle, not just having sex be depicted in this perfect performance.
I know, you're like, what are you saying? You're so disjointed.
Made of stardust.
I don't mean it critically at all. But I assume there must be times in your professional life and your personal life when you sort of need to slow down. Are there ways you consciously do that?
I mean, like I do normal stuff, like I cook soup and hang out with my family. I go home. There's a line in the movie and in the book that's like, in water, like in books, you can leave your life. I read a lot.
I thought you were going to say smoke weed.
I smoke a lot of weed, but I shouldn't, because I probably fucks with my circadian rhythm and I don't sleep.
In the edition that I have of the Chronology of Water, there's an interview with Lydia Yuknavitch at the end of the book, and she just brings up the point. It's the interviewer, or somehow they get on the subject of drugs, and she brings up the point that we might find it culturally uncomfortable to admit, but like the truth is that a lot of art has basically come out of drugs and alcohol. Have you ever been sort of inspired by drug use or drinking, or what's your
hell yeah
response to that?
Man,
have you ever gotten really high and written something that you were like, this is the greatest thing that anyone has ever written?
I've like had I mean, I definitely have had to self-soothe in different ways as I've gotten older because I'm like kind of I've had social insecurities that within like my particular profession have just not been fun to navigate. And so, yeah. But in terms of art making, like in terms of thinking, I work best in the morning. I work best at 6 o'clock in the morning, like completely clear-headed. I romanticize so much like Bukowski sitting there with a big old bottle of wine and like writing his best poems. I do not have that. I text people I shouldn't text when I do that. You know what I mean? You were talking about Abandon the last time we were talking too, like how it's fun to watch her kind of fall down these holes in order to find something new, in order to kind of break through, to kind of like, just like crack a certain encapsulating crust. And sometimes you do need to like pour a bunch of vodka on it, or maybe you do need to like sort of kick your own teeth down your throat. But I'm like way too old for that. I did that. And I did that for a while. And I think for me, it's like just so much more social than it is. And I don't feel inspired when I get fucked up.
Yeah.
I want my brain back. You know what I mean? Like I definitely think like all of the things that I don't want to know about myself. Don't drink anymore. Make art about the things you don't want to know about yourself. You know what I mean? Like that's how you meet. That's how you meet your actual person inside. You know what I mean? Like I find them distracting, I guess, just to be concise.
When we spoke earlier, I was doing the thing that you and then I started doing it and you predicted it. The cliche I was doing was I was leading up to like the encapsulating final question.
Here we go.
No, but then I was like, no, I'm not gonna do the cliche. But like, what do you think we should end on? Where do you want to leave people?
Oh, good. I love how you've literally spent now like 2 hours talking to me, and you think I'm gonna be the person to. You've gotten me all wrong, sir. I won't be able to do it. We'll just be here forever. What do we want to end on? I did make an entire movie about what I wanted to say and like teaching a lesson on that movie or trying to like sort of reveal like this new thing about myself. This is going to be funny. It's definitely not about like selling or plugging my film. But if you want to know anything about me, like if you want to have a continued conversation, you have to watch my movie first. Like, and this isn't about selling my film. It's tiny. It's not, in no way is it a blockbuster. It is definitely something that requires like some like real engagement and like personal. It would be like a gift for anyone to actually spend 2 hours watching my film because it would be like that you wanted to hang out with me. And so like, I don't have
guess I gotta go watch the movie.
Anything else to say unless you want to know my favorite color or some shit, but that's also in my movie.
Of course, I felt like I was out on the wire with you a little bit.
Okay, I guess
in this
I'm
conversation,
sad.
But I was glad to be out on that wire with you. So thank you.
You mean like tightrope walking?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. In like a sort of a positive, there was a positive element of risk, I thought, a couple times. And
cool. Do you know what's funny? I did not feel at risk, which is great because like I felt like I could really talk to you and that you weren't going to be like, I got her. It's fucking wonderful. It's very rare.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. And good luck with the movie.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Damn, what a cynical state of journalism where it's like, yeah, I'm just waiting for the gotcha, trip you up. You know, here's the soundbite. Here's the clip. Kristen Stewart said what? No context necessary. You know? That was great. I didn't realize how much her film was how personal it was, how much self-expression is a part of, is a part of this film that she made. Yeah, I think she's really smart. I think, as I said, she's become more interesting as an artist. I used to kind of be a K. Stu hater, and now I'm Now I'm going to watch her film because, as she said, if you want to, if you want to hang out with me, if you want to get to know me, watch the film. Like, okay, I guess I'm sad. That was a really great interview. Didn't think I'd watch all of it, and I'm studying journalism. There you go. You guys, I do have to rock and roll. I got to get out of here. So a short little stream, but still managed to make it. And I will be flying out tonight. If you're doing anything fun for the holidays, I hope you have safe travels. I will be bringing streaming equipment to Chicago, so hopefully can do a little couple of streams here and there. But otherwise, I will be back. I'm going to be gone for like a week. Going home. Going to the homestead. And yeah. Cooking with Dad. Oh crap! Wait, I totally forgot. Is Shy? I had said that. I said I was gonna raid Shy. Okay, Shy is doing a partner push. Ooh, glad I remember that. Hate to go back on my promises. Hogan, thank you for another gifted sub. Wallflower, thank you for the 8 months. All right, y'all. So, safe travels. Enjoy this holiday season. I will see you next time from Chicago. We'll be with the fam. Go Bears, da Bears. Yeah, I'll be watching the Bears on Sunday. Please enable rewind. Okay, I say I don't really know what that is, but we'll figure it out. Amsterdam Kaya guy, thank you for the 6 months. All right, later Gators. Oh, Shy is doing a partner push, so please go support him. I have so many links right now I can't even find. Oh, also Katie has pinned fill out the census and thank you for forms here. So there's